How do innovators know which technologies are worth investing in and which are just hype cycle nonsense that should be avoided at all costs? Well, today we're going to go over 10 questions that will help you assess any new technology, and then we're going to answer those questions for AI. Hi, I'm West Stringfellow, and this is the Business Evolution Masterclass series that teaches you how to innovate. This is one of the first classes that we have, and in this class, we're going to assess the technologies that we're considering using in our innovation. As innovators, whether we're entrepreneurs building startups or leaders transforming established companies, our most valuable currency in the early stages of every innovation project is our credibility. This credibility is the foundation upon which we build our trust and confidence with investors, teams, and customers. To establish, maintain, and strengthen this credibility, we must only focus on opportunities that have legitimate potential. If you're like me, you're constantly on the lookout for the next big opportunity. Currently, that opportunity appears to be artificial intelligence. However, before we invest our time, resources, and credibility, we need to answer a critical question. Is AI a credible technology? This masterclass provides a comprehensive approach to assessing the credibility of any technology and just uses AI as our primary example. By the end of this course, you'll have a robust framework to evaluate emerging technologies that allows you to make informed decisions, allocate your resources, and enhance your credibility. Whether you're considering AI or any other emerging technology, the skills you develop in this masterclass will help you innovate. All right, so let's dive in. First, please note that all of these notes are going to be available for free. I designed these so that you can see the value of this data and how it kind of helps accelerate other people's thinking. That's ultimately what we're trying to do as innovators, is accelerate everyone around us to understanding the future and then bridging the gap with operations, technology, process, and people. All right, so how do we assess technology credibility? Well, there are 10 questions that we walk through, and what we're really looking for here is the transitive property of credibility. If highly credible people and institutions think a technology is credible, we therefore can think it is credible. If A equals B and B equals C, A equals C, transitive property. And so we're going to look at 10 themes. One is convergence, and that is the technology the next natural evolution of the technology? For example, if someone was making an airplane and they just came up to you and said, hey, we're now building a warp drive that goes interdimensionally at light speed, you'd be like, that seems like a radical evolution in technology. I maybe don't believe that so much. Whereas if they were to come to you and say, hey, look, we made a bigger plane that's more fuel efficient, that's believable. Customers, are customers buying and using this technology? Code, are there robust, accessible tools and frameworks for developing it? Capital, are credible sources of capital investing in it? Same with companies and CEOs. Are companies investing in it and are CEOs talking about it? Are credible consultancies selling services for the new technology? Are there large communities of credible people working together to advance the technology? Are there a large number of careers in this field? And are credible colleges and universities teaching about it? Now let's look at two examples. The first is smartphones. Smartphones are obviously a very credible technology. I'm sure all of you have one. And if we asked the 10 questions about smartphones when they were emerging, the answers to almost all of these questions would have been yes. This means that there is less risk investing in innovation that use smartphone technology. And the results are that 90% of Americans own smartphones and 70% of Americans consider their phone a necessity. On the other hand, if we look at NFTs, this is a technology that proved less credible. If we asked the 10 questions about NFTs when they were emerging, the answers to almost all of these questions would have been no. This means that there is a lot of risk investing in innovations that use NFT technologies, and as a result, 95% of the people who bought NFTs lost their entire investment, and 79% of the NFTs that were made were never sold. The difference is dramatic, and that's why assessing technology credibility is crucial before making significant investments into the technology. Now, let's answer these same questions for AI. Is AI the next natural evolution of technology? Yes. In fact, we've been working towards AI since the computer started. I articulate all the steps here. I won't walk through this today because it's long, but suffice it to say, AI is very much the next natural step for computers. Are customers buying and using AI? Yes. All categories of customers, and generally there are 3 categories of customers: consumers, businesses, and governments. So if we look at consumers, OpenAI's ChatGPT is the fastest new product to 100 million monthly active users. That's crazy. 2 months to 100 million monthly active users, insane. But if we look at businesses, generally there are a couple of categories of business. I've simplified it down to two, just enterprise, big businesses, SMBs, small and medium businesses. So when looking at enterprises, 70 to 85% of enterprises believe that AI is a top priority. And the variance there to 70 to 85% is just survey variance, but it's safe to assume that 70% or more of all enterprises in America think AI is a top priority. Now, when we look at SMBs, which are small to medium businesses, only 6% of US SMBs use AI. And to me, I see this as one of the biggest opportunities out there. We have got to get businesses using AI, especially the SMBs. And that's one of the big reasons I'm making this course, is to help everyone understand and access AI. And then looking at the government has radically increased its interest in AI. And in 2022, they increased their spending by 1,200% year over year to 4.2 billion. So yes, the government is interested in AI. Consequently, yes, customers are buying and using AI, all categories of customers. The next thing we look at is code. Are there robust, accessible tools and frameworks for AI development? Again, yes. Now, I have selected a range of GitHub repos here, and these are just the ones that I think are the most interesting. You might have your own, but what's notable is that these are some of the most popular repos on GitHub, and they're all AI and machine learning related. So code, yes. The next one is capital. Are credible sources of capital investing in AI? Yes. Corporations have spent 167 billion since the AI frenzy kicked off, and they're forecast to spend $1 trillion in the coming years. Wall Street thinks AI is a priority, and we can tell that because the CEOs in their quarter calls, in their annual calls with Wall Street, mention AI. 12% in 2022, up to 32% in 2024, almost triple the mentions. Venture capital is pouring 27 billion into AI startups in the last quarter. And that is lifting venture capital to the highest level in 2 years. So yes, venture capital. And then the biggest banks. BlackRock is in talk with governments to invest trillions of dollars in the infrastructure required to power AI. JP Morgan has delivered $1 billion in business value through AI. And Blackstone is investing $25 billion into data centers. So yes, capital is very interested in AI. What about companies? We touched on this in capital in terms of the amount of investment they're making, but looking at the major technology companies, every single one of them lists AI as a top, if not the top priority. And we see that on their websites because they have specific elements of their website dedicated just to AI. But we also hear that in the language of their CEOs. Are the CEOs of credible technology companies talking about AI? Yes. All major technology company CEOs openly express the critical importance of AI. And Google, I think, has some of the most superlative language. Pichai says, I've always thought of AI as the most profound technology humanity is working on. More profound than fire or electricity or anything that we've done in the past. And if you read these quotes, almost all of them are equally superlative. It's all, this is the most impactful technology. This is going to change the world. It's going to change business. So yes, the CEOs are talking about it. And the reason that's a big deal is they are staking the reputation of their company on their words. So AI is very important to their firm. Are consulting firms, are credible consultancies selling services for AI? Again, yes, all major consulting firms are selling AI services. McKinsey even opened up their own division, Quantum Black. Sounds mysterious. The next thing we look at is communities of practice. Are credible people working together to advance AI? Yes. I found over a dozen AI ML communities representing well over 1 million AI community members. If you're looking to get started with AI, these are a great place to start. And again, this is just my curation. I'm not trying to exclude other communities or prioritize any one over the other. These are just the ones that I'm familiar with. And next we look at careers. Are there a large number of jobs for AI? Yes. The Bureau of Labor Statistics thinks that these jobs are supposed to grow 21% from 2021 to 2031. That's a massive growth in jobs. I think these actual numbers are conservative. I've seen some forecasts out there that say AI is going to create tens to hundreds of millions of jobs. But I went with the more conservative number. Just, forecasts are easy to be hyperbolic. And the final thing we look at is courses. Are credible colleges and universities teaching AI? Yes. All top colleges and universities in America offer AI courses. And fun fact, the first massively open online course, or MOOC, was a course on AI. So is AI a credible tech? Absolutely yes. All capital types are investing. All major technology companies, all technology CEOs are investing and talking about it. All major consulting firms are developing services for it. Communities of practice are large and thriving. Careers are growing, and all top universities are offering AI courses. This evidence strongly suggests that AI is indeed a credible technology with significant potential for growth and impact. So, again, this class is completely open source. All these resources, all this research is free to you. I hope that it helps you convince yourself at first and then maybe others around you that AI is a good investment for innovation. If you have any questions or a different perspective, please leave them below or reach out to me directly. And then if you'd like to share your thoughts, like this is a conversation, right? I'm just sharing my perspective and how I approach these things. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for watching this video. I truly hope this was helpful. In the next video, we'll dive into looking at the market and the customer to make sure that we're doing a thorough validation of the innovation that we're going to pursue as we walk through the innovation life cycle. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. If you know someone who's trying to innovate, please share it with them. And thank you so much again for watching. I look forward to innovating with you. Have a great day.